Okay, so last week,
Last week, like a month ago, 6 weeks ago,
we talked about space. I'm sure you guys have completely forgotten the subject matter. They were like, But we're talking about space. We're talking about how we work through it. But we just want to leave you off with this on that topic. With space, it came a lot of compromising and maturity, really. So certain things in your marriage, you will realize that it takes time and it takes doing it.
Actually, I think we left off with the vehicle. We were sharing one vehicle.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a form of space because I'm the only one that had a car. My wife, she didn't have a car at the time. I had like a 2000 Honda Civic. And that's the only vehicle that we had at the time, and we had to kind of share that. You were working, I was finishing up with school, but also working at a restaurant chain. Mm-hmm. And so that was, but you know what, though? I think God kind of came through with that because you literally worked like just 2 or 3 miles from where I worked at.
Plus, it was a small town, so it wasn't too far for anything.
Yeah, so even though we only had one vehicle, God still made a way, and we were still able to get everything done that we needed to get done with one vehicle. So sharing one vehicle there were some compromises that had to be made, but still we managed. I mean, we got by.
And I was thinking that certain things you just have to thug it out. Yes, and bring a book, bring a game, call people. It just bide your time and don't fuss about it. Don't be angry. Don't give a bad attitude because at that time it's not something that you can control, and it'll give you time to bond. And that's what I liked riding with you because it gave me time to bond with you. I liked you dropping me off or picking me up because it gave me time to talk with you before we got home, and then we had to, pick up the pace and do everything that we needed to do. But that's pretty much it on space, and thank you so much for listening to that. Our next topic is it's kind of it's a little obvious, but it's also something that's pretty common. And we watched a couple of videos yesterday talking about it, and it's about interracial couples. Of course, we are interracial.
If you didn't know, she's black, and
oh my goodness!
And I'm not white. My father's Puerto Rican, but my mother is Caucasian, so I'm mixed, I guess.
Yeah. Let me start by prefacing this. I am not negating the experiences of other couples. We do understand that there are a lot of interracial couples that go through a lot of struggles, depending on where you live. We lived in a metropolitan area. We weren't interracial couples were not very common where we were. It was getting a little...
Not very common, but let's face it. I mean, interracial couples are becoming more and more common than they used to be.
Yeah, because people are beginning to see like, oh...
Yeah, you go on Facebook now, it's like, it's not even a big deal anymore. And like, you go to some people, they got millions upon millions of views. You go to other people, and they don't have a whole lot of views. So it just lets me know that it's just not a big thing anymore.
Yeah. And we just want to talk about it because we want to talk about our experiences as an interracial couple. So I'm going to talk about my experiences first, and then he's going to talk about his experiences. I'm going to start by saying that I'm originally from Ghana. That's a country in the West African. Oh, shoot. I'm originally from Ghana. It's a country in the western part of Africa. And, of course, it was a pretty homogenous lifestyle. There were mostly Ghanaians everywhere we went. There are a few girls who were married to Caucasian or non-African men. And, I mean, they're white Africans, so I can't even say that. Like, they're white Africans, they're Arab Africans, so I can't even say, like, they were non-African. But you know what I mean. They're European. Lebanese. Yeah, they're also Lebanese. A lot of girls, there are girls who are also married to Lebanese, but you didn't see that too often. My only experience with people who were of mixed race or who were product of an interracial couple, the father was never present. So my view on dating somebody who was non-black African was that they were kind of like deadbeat dads. Or I used to hear stories like, they were married for 10, 15 years, and then one day he got up in the morning and said, I don't love you anymore. And this is a girl who's coming from a background where divorce was almost non-existent and almost taboo. Nobody divorces.
They wouldn't divorce, but they'd have like side chicks.
They'd have side chicks. You can do whatever you want. Just don't get a divorce.
A whole other family somewhere else that you didn't even know about.
Yeah, but don't get divorced. That's horrible. Yeah. That's worse than cheating on your wife. But that's not for every single family. But that was my preconceptions that I came with. So I used to pray for a husband, which many girls should do. And I did not specify. I think that's my problem. I did not specify on what he was supposed
God was like, you want a husband?
to
All right,
look
here you go.
like. I should have said, God, I want him to be 6 feet tall, with, green eyes and blah, blah, blah. But I did not specify those things. I just said I did the intangibles. I just wanted a man who was godly. I wanted a man who was very secure in himself, because an absolute turn off for me is an insecure man, or a man who wanted to be mothered. No, I wanted a cheerleader or somebody who was very nurturing. And I also wanted someone who was kind of a stable personality, because I'm like, extroverted and I'm like all over the place. So I wanted somebody who was more calmer than me. And ta-da, my husband came around. When I first met him, he was really tanned, okay? He was so tanned, I thought he was like a mixed boy. Like, I really did. And he had shaved his head really
She
low.
met me on the beach.
So I thought, oh, who's that cute little mixed boy over there? Oh my God, he's so fun. And, December came around.
And I wasn't so tan.
He wasn't so tan, and he has never been since. I'm so mad about that. No, not really. But I still love you, sweetie. But my getting into the relationship with him, he had all the intangibles that I wanted, which is something that you ladies should really look for in a partner. Intangibles, because let me tell you, the tangibles like his skin color and his his body, his physique, all those are gonna fade. Those are gonna be irrelevant.
They're gonna fade. What are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about it's gonna be irrelevant. That's not what I meant. They're gonna be irrelevant eventually. So you need to focus
Gravity,
on the intangible.
is that what the past was talking about? Gravity.
and for ladies too, guys, if you're looking for a woman, I mean, of course, get somebody that you're gonna be extremely attracted to, but just keep in mind that those are the tangible things, and those are gonna be irrelevant down the line. So with my husband, getting with him, I was like, oh wow, he's white in my mind. He's white, so like, it's gonna be a lot of craziness. No, his mother is probably the sweetest person in the world. I don't even know how I got blessed with such an amazing mom. Yeah.
Well, but I had also dated
black girls.
Women.
Yeah, so
I mean,
I thought it was.
Yeah,
I had
nothing new to me.
I had friends who had like horror stories about dating outside their race and how the parents were racist and they didn't like his dad, his stepdad, and his mom were absolutely sweet. Oh my goodness, couldn't have better like in-laws. I couldn't believe my heart, like my eyes. I couldn't believe my luck, because I felt like I struck the lottery, because on an African note, even Africans that I knew who were married into families were having such a horrible times with their in-laws, and then even the people who were in interracial relationships were having horrible times with in-laws. So I didn't think there were any people who could have good in-laws. And then I met his stepmom, who is like the sweetest person in the world. You don't even understand. Like, that woman is so sweet. And then his sisters and his biological father. So the man that I referred to as my father-in-law, the previous man, he's my husband's stepfather, and I also met his biological father, who are absolutely. I mean, for the most part, he was nice to me. And his stepmom was a a wonderful person, and his sisters were absolutely. I love his sisters. They're hilarious. They're funny. They're awesome. I wish I could spend more time with them, but distance separates us. So those were the things that came into the my preconceptions about dating someone of his race were the things that I thought I was gonna have to face, and I was gonna happen to battle. Now, in getting married, it's a very cliche term, but it only refers to within the context of our marriage, please. So understand that, please. I don't want anyone using that as evidence as for whatever. I did not see his color. Now, me in saying I did not see his color is if my husband and I were getting into an argument of some sort, it wasn't about, well, possibly you white people are gonna. No, it had nothing to do with that. It was facts. If my husband had an attitude, he had an attitude. That was my husband who had an attitude. It's not his skin color. It's not his race. It wasn't anything about that.
You just got some deep core issues if that's like your first thing.
That's the first thing that brings up. Oh, white people.
Y'all white people. All y'all black people.
I know, and it became irrelevant when we started going deep into the marriage. All those things became irrelevant. His color became irrelevant. But what became most relevant within our relationship that we saw that we had to battle with was cultural. Me being a Ghanaian, coming from a very collectivist background, him being an American, very individualistic, and also very quiet and reserved background, that became a source of friction. So I would say also that leads to my point of intangibles. You have to think about culture. So if he's coming from a completely different culture from you, you have to understand that these are things that are going to cause some kind of friction. Culture. That's it. That was the only thing that we had to battle with a lot as an interracial couple.
Okay, so when I brought up my parents, I have a stepfather who raised me, and then I have a biological father who I just started to really develop a relationship with in my 20s. But so here's all right. So my stepdad, he grew up in the 60s and 70s, and had some, I don't know, racial issues. I mean, he didn't really believe a whole lot in interracial marriages and stuff like that. But
you're talking about the Puerto Rican side.
No, I'm talking about. I'm talking about my stepdad.
Oh, Randy.
And he expressed that to me, but I didn't really care, because I hold on a second, but and then
you never told me that.
And then because you don't need to know everything.
You are so.
But his perception has changed much since our marriage. So he doesn't really feel the way that he thought before. And this was coming from pretty much just the negativity that was poured into his life through.
Which is ironic because his other son was married to a Latina girl.
Yeah, but let me finish up because, and then my biological dad, he approached me one day, like we were getting out of the mall, and I think it was just he and I. We were going to the car, and I guess it was just been on his mind for a while, and he said, "Son, can I ask you a question?" I said, "Yeah, what's up?" He said, "You don't like your own people?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, you don't like Hispanic women? I said, well, it doesn't really matter to me, but I've been dating black women for quite a while, and I will say this, you guys, there is a sense of truth to the term, once you go black, you never go back.
What?
Like, because I was dating black women almost 10 years before I met her, so I already had a lot of experience dating black women, but to answer his question, I was like, Michelle's beautiful. I mean, she's a great woman.
Oh, thank you.
And, it doesn't really matter to me. And it's ironic because my dad is Puerto Rican, but yet his wife is Mexican. And, it just, yeah, you're Hispanic, but still anybody who's been in Hispanic families know that if you're Mexican, you are expected to marry a Mexican. If you're Puerto Rican, Puerto Rican. So he kind of stepped outside the box a little bit himself. So, but that's kind of the issue that I had with both of my dads, and I've always been a little bit rebellious. So have you. A little bit more, a little bit rebellious, just more like we just want to do what we want to do. And I, to be honest with you, I don't think that there's enough video for me to explain a lot of the racial issues that we've experienced, both within our family and outside of our family. So I think it's something we definitely ought to continue into the next video. But as far as interracial thing, I mean, it doesn't really matter to me so much anymore. Just as long as you guys have that, what do we say, the core values, the core beliefs? Core
values and core beliefs.
Yeah, I mean, culturally, there is a thing. Really what matters is just that your core beliefs, if they're the same, which ours is Christ-centered, if you have that core belief, then you guys can work through anything. So
yeah, I mean, it doesn't, because everything fluctuates. You're going to change. If you were growing up in a less affluent neighborhood and you got an education, got a better job, and became more started getting more money, you would change. Your values would change. So, and if you got laid off, your values would change. If you had children, your values would change. All these things, life experiences will change you. So if your core beliefs are the same, I don't think the person's color is going to really have an impact on the marriage itself. On society as a whole, of course, we're living in a racialized society which believes that race is a false construction, by the way. But who believe that, based on your skin color, all your attributes, your characteristics are completely based on your skin color, which is absolutely stupid. But you would on the external side, people would think a certain way towards you, which will also impact your marriage in one way or the other, depending on how you choose to react to it. But on your marriage itself, no. So if you've never thought of dating someone outside your race, go for it. You don't know what you're going to get. Think about the intangibles and your core beliefs. Those are the only things that you really need to carry with you. But if you're so worried about what the outside world the outside world is gonna affect your marriage, maybe you need some serious self-evaluation. But also, in addition to that, I would say that it doesn't matter how the outside world thinks about your marriage, because at the end of the day, when the two of you are going through something, no one else is going to be there but just the two of you. So think about it in those terms.
I don't really have anything else to say. I think I'd like to leave whatever else I might have to say on to the next video. I think that this is a topic that maybe we should continue, because I think it's a curiosity more for a younger generation as they get into the dating phase and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Because people who are in their 20s and 30s, they really know a lot about this. They've dated, experimented, stuff, so on and so forth. So this is a topic that I would definitely like to continue if it's okay with you, sweetie.
That's fine with me.
Okay. All right. So until next time, you guys, thank you so much. Please make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. We promise to be trying really hard to be doing these videos on a weekly basis. So until then, everybody, see you next time.